snapped! Hold on tight! Get back, get back! We can't hold it, she's too strong! Hold the line, hold it! We're losing it, she's too strong! Dig in, pull! Heave! Pull together now! Harder! Heave! Pull together now! It's too strong! Just hold the line! Pull harder! Hold the line, don't let go! Heave! All together now! Hold the line, hold it! We're losing it, more help! Heave! Heave! Hold on, it's pulling too hard! We're losing it! Watch out, incoming! Hold on tight, she's going down. Heave! Pull it in, it's too heavy. Watch the whale. Come on, you monster, come on! Come on! Pull! Heave now! All together.
Amid the cold morning of the North Sea, the European steel ship silently entered the misty waters, carrying a team of experienced fishermen. They were used to the sea, but this trip brought with it a strange sense of uncertainty. The bridge radar detected an unusually large signal deep below the surface, far surpassing any sign of life they had encountered. The crew immediately prepared the cables, winches, and fishing gear. The sound of waves crashing against the hull mixed with the howling wind, signaling a great challenge was coming. As they drew closer, the sea surface shook with a giant breath from the depths. The whales often scattered as if sensing something unnatural. And then, from under the cold blue water, a huge black shadow slithered up, a giant whale of unimaginable size. The astonishment quickly gave way to
Hold the line, pull! He's pulling starboard! Don't let go, heave! How much is that? 22.5 meters. Got it. Steady now, all together. It's slipping. Hold fast.
Tense concentration. The fishing crew took up position, pulled the cables taut, and turned on the high-powered harpoons. A battle had begun. When the first harpoon launched, the giant whale tore the surface of the water, creating huge waves that seemed to want to sink the entire ship. It struggled violently, pulling the cables so tight that they shook repeatedly, causing the deck to tilt violently. The fishermen in dark blue jackets and orange overalls clung tightly to the wet steel deck, coordinating rhythmically to hold the cables according to each twist of the giant creature. The deep roar from the sea mixed with the screeching of the cables and the urgent shouts of commands, creating a symphony of survival and strength. The giant whale continuously dived deep, jumped up, and swished its tail, creating a violent whirl.
Easy on the lift, take it to the right.
Clear the deck below.
Steady, steady, lower it down.
Push, push.
Harder now. Get the shackle on there
The
now.
ship shook.
Frozen.
Water flooded the deck, but each person remained steadfast,
hammer?
pulling, holding, and adjusting the cables according to the
sure that
captain's
line is
orders.
fast. It's
After
fast.
dozens of minutes
All
of
clear
fierce
forward.
struggle, the animal's strength gradually
Pull it up
decreased
now.
as it was held tightly by many cables. Finally,
Watch
it
your step there,
surfaced,
get it moving.
breathing heavily in despair. The ship approached. The entire team joined forces to secure the giant creature to the hull, ending the longest battle of their seafaring lives. As the giant whale was brought onto the steel deck, a new journey began, the journey of handling a
line?
great creature in the middle of the ocean. Under the cold blue-white light, groups of
Pull, we
fishermen
need it
carefully
faster.
dissected and cut open the
losing it,
giant
put your
whale's
weight into
body
it.
with specialized
It's too
industrial
strong, the cable's
equipment.
gonna snap.
There was no chaos or haste, only precise, rhythmic techniques and the responsible attitude of people accustomed to the sea. Steel
Watch the pulley,
hooks,
keep hauling.
saws, and winches coordinated smoothly. Each part of the giant body was processed, classified, marked, and recorded accurately on electronic devices. Seawater, fish oil, and cold air mixed together, reflecting on the blue-white steel of the deck. The giant whale was gradually divided into standardized parts, transported via cranes and steel chutes down to the holding area. The entire process took place under the utmost seriousness and concentration of the fishing crew, who understood the importance of each operation in this harsh environment. As the last part of the giant whale was lowered into the hold, the fishing crew began to clean up the equipment. They washed the steel deck, checked the cable,
Hold the winch now. Easy, easy. Don't let her run, keep the tension steady. Take the strain.
winches and all the
Move to the
tools
clean.
used in the life and death
Pulling
battle.
hard.
The deck gradually became clean and
I've got
empty. Only the cold light covering the wet surface
Ease
reflected.
the
As
tension
dusk
on that
gradually
line now.
fell on the
She's gonna
North
snap
Sea,
the cable.
the ship
Bring it
turned
down
back.
slowly.
The exhausted people stood looking at the sea, where they had faced the force of nature at its highest level. In that moment of silence, the steel ship cut through the waves to return home after a dangerous but also proud journey. A new chapter was written in their seafaring history, a chapter of courage, skill and resilience in the icy ocean. But the journey was not just a hunt. It was also a confrontation with the ocean, an unforgiving place, where there was no room for hesitation or weakness. Each wave that crashed against the ship's side reminded them that the ocean was always stronger than the humans. And humans could only survive if they
Hold the line steady, she's surging again.
Pull harder on the starboard side.
Watch the tension on that block.
respected it. The fight with the giant whale required not only muscle strength, but also absolute coordination and trust between people who had lived half their lives on this cold water. When the giant whale lay still on the deck, no longer pulling the rope or tilting the ship, a silence fell over the group of fishermen. Not because they were tired, nor because they were afraid. It was a moment when the sailors silently watched a giant creature that had fought to its last breath. A little shocked, a little respectful, and a sense of victory mixed with gratitude. The ocean had tested them, and they had overcome it, as the swords, steel hooks, and cranes worked. Each part of the giant whale was processed as part of the process. But behind the cold steel and the sound of the machines, the fisherman's eyes showed an unusual seriousness. No one...
Easy with the hook there. All right, lift it slowly, watch your footing. Keep it moving, watch the weight on the far end.
No one said a word too much. Everyone understood that they were doing what they had to do, what their job, their life, and the marine environment required. The sound of the machines rang out steadily, filtering through the thick sea fog like smoke. Steel cables were stretched, pulleys turned. Seawater mixed with fish oil flowed in streams. But no matter how hard the work was, each fisherman kept the rhythm, maintained the precision and calmness of the craftsman on the cold steel deck. It was a moment that proved their skill and bravery, people tempered by wind, water, and cold mist. When the last part of the giant whale was lowered into the hold, no one cheered. They just stood there, sweating in the cold, watching the deck gradually empty. They did not win to be arrogant, but to continue living.
Bring it down slowly, watch the starboard side. A little more to the left, steady now. Watch the line, pull it tighter. We need more slack on the crane. Send the
To
next tray
continue
down.
going to sea, to continue to feed their families and to keep the
need more
tradition
ice
of
over here.
European seafarers
Possibly.
passed down from generation to generation. And when the ship turned back to port in the pale sunset, all fatigue seemed to sink into the waves.
Watch the
The sea
line,
was
bring it up
calmer,
slow.
the sky opened
Right,
up a
steady on
faint
the
light,
winch.
and the sound of the engine echoed like the heartbeat of the returning ship.
Bring it
The
down
fishermen
slowly now.
stood pensively by the railing,
Watch the far side.
looking back at the sea where they had
All
just
right,
undergone
easy,
their
easy.
greatest challenge. In their eyes was pride, pride in their skills, in their experience, and in their unyielding spirit, as the ship gradually entered the waters near the port. The yellow light from the far shore reflected on the sea as if opening the way back home. After all the storms, the broken cables, the strong thrashing of giant whales and the dangerous hours, they returned,
Watch the weight distribution on the next section.
Speed is steady, moving past the gantry now.
Hold the line steady now. Easy on the turn.
steady and more experienced than before. Finally, as the ship docked, its steel deck gleaming under the harbour lights, the crew disembarked with slow but confident steps. They were ending a long and challenging journey to begin another, a journey that tells a story that only those who have sailed the great seas can understand, a story of courage, of perseverance, and of a respectful relationship between humans and the ocean. But even as the sea calmed, the memory of the giant creature still echoed in everyone's mind. The sounds of the cables being stretched, the waves exploding, the giant body hitting the water, all seemed to be somewhere in the cold wind flowing across the empty deck. They remembered the feeling when the giant whale first appeared, the overwhelming feeling, mixed with fear, but also the deep respect for such a powerful creature.
Check the tension on the main line.
Reading steady here.
All right, lock her down.
Of the sea, as they packed up their equipment, checked every hook, every piece of rope and every piece of steel on the deck. Everyone knew they had just experienced something rare in their entire life at sea. A true test. A proof that the ocean always has mysteries that humans cannot easily understand. And that to survive here, more than strength, it requires unity and unshakable perseverance. In the dim light of the late night, as the ship cut through the waves toward land, stories began to be told among the crew. Not to brag, but to remember, to pass on to future generations that one day, they had faced a giant whale, fought together, and survived. They told of the first jerk that sent the entire line back. They told of the tale that sent water flooding the deck. They told of the moment when it seemed as if the cable would snap.
Secure that section before the next cut. All right, pull it up slow.